Well, what's going on, everybody? Great White Stoke coming at you from the Great White North. The Shafe did a video on boomers. Backwoods did a video on boomers. And the Grand Poobah Arbiter of Truth, Southern Paladin, did a video on boomers, all with regards to the economy and how boomers literally bargain shopped this country into ruin. Now, not too long ago, I did a video about boomers, and I've said it once, I'll say it again. The world is going to breathe a sigh of relief when the last boomer passes into the ether. Now, of course, for all the simpletons out there that need the caveat, obviously we're not talking about all boomers, but as a collective, the world is going to breathe a sigh of relief. And here's why. The boomers are a large consumer group that has been made to be entitled through the entire apparatchik. Because you have to consider that the boomers, and the silent generation for that part, got the best of what America had to offer. They had the best that America had to offer. Because back then, America was culturally homogenized, racially homogenized for the most part, ideologically homogenized, and fairly historically homogenized. Not only that, but the entire system during that period, for the most part, was designed to help them. You had a political apparatchik that was in place for them. Now, even though it's 2024 and we can pretty much agree that voting really has no sway over where the country's going at this point, just due to technological factors and whatnot. The boomers and the silent generation had much more political agency at that time. Fast forward today, the country is in ruin, and we are bombarded by these curmudgeonly entitled boomers that they've drank all the berry juice, and now they're feeding on the husk, all the while carrying this après moi la deluge mindset. And that means after me, the deluge, which means that once they go, they don't really care what happens because they'll be gone. Social Security, it needs to last until they're gone, and then all of their children and grandchildren, well, they're just going to have to work hard and pull themselves up by their bootstraps. And these boomers are just so ironically self-unaware of how good they really had it. I recall being a youngster and who was working at all of like the fast food restaurants, the menial jobs. It was always American college kids. And now who's working those jobs, especially in the lower 48s? Mexicans and other south of the border illegal immigrants, Hondurans, Guatemalans, El Salvadorians, Peruvians, Ecuadorians, you name it, they're in place. Boomers never had the threat of the Muslim invasion and the Muslim ideology, and the fact that Muslims think that their religion supersedes any Western edict while being a guest in a Western country. The boomers never had to deal with rape culture or BLM riots. Now, of course, they did have a few race riots, obviously, because, back then the boomers were very slow to change as far as granting people just some basic respect. I mean, say what you want about, the Jim Crow laws and whatnot. Those were terrible. However, segregation is a good thing. Freedom of association is a good thing. But the boomers, you have to consider they are a large group of people, and they are large and in charge, financially speaking and physically speaking. I see so many boomers panic buying tater chips, cookies, soda pop. Their health is just ruined. They're all obese, and they're expecting the system to stay in place to take care of them and their bad health decisions. They've never had to compete the way their children and their grandchildren are having to compete. And they're always asking these boomer rhetorical questions. Well, why don't you have a house? Why don't you have a college degree? Why aren't you doing this and that? I mean, we're talking about a group of people who could go work for 3 months during the summer, and that was enough to pay for college and living expenses for the most part. That's all out the window. And boomers love tchotchkes and getting deals. And if they somehow perceive that, something didn't go right, and then getting some rock bottom deal, some deal of the day, some open box special, boy, they become hot ladies or hot men because a battery wasn't included or a remote wasn't included. The boomers expect to gamble and always win. And so the world is going to breathe a sigh of relief when this entitled, tchotchke-loving, Franklin Mint certificate of authenticity buying group of people fade into the ether. Because I believe at that point, we'll be able to start making some real cultural changes that might benefit the current host of people. When you talk about the boomers, they're 20% of the population. They are a large group of population. And I see it now. When I look at TV, when I get a hold of a random Costco book, or I guess ad, the little magazine that they put out, Costco Life, what do I see? It's either young brown people or old white people. All the commercials on TV are all about step-in tubs or cake foundation for old ladies or products for old people, or young brown people are featured in these commercials and advertisements. You no longer see young white families, young white people featured in any way in today's ad space and whatnot. So I have no love for boomers, and it's time that they move on. And they're holding on to so many assets. They're refusing to retire to let somebody else have a go at life. They're essentially these spoiled brats on the carousel of life who are refusing to let other people take their turn. And when you think about it, some of them have been on a pension plan and retired and non-productive for damn near a third of their lives or more. Boomers like to bitch about welfare riders and people getting a free ride. They've been doing it for a long time. So I say, good riddance, Boomer. Good riddance. You saw a government send your ass to war in Vietnam over a lie. Your children and grandchildren have witnessed numerous wars built on lies, and we just ended a 20-year war in Afghanistan where nothing happened except wasting money to go after some perceived boogeyman that was funded by the Saudis, who are all enriching our dual passport holding politicians. We're wasting money, and then we're sending your children and your grandchildren to go over there and be ruined by either PTSD, female soldiers to get raped and sexually assaulted by their fellow men soldiers, or to come back missing limbs, horrifically scarred for life. And all the boomers can do is go, rah, 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 America, MAGA. I mean, at this point, their brains are so leaded out from the fumes of yesteryear. Type 3 diabetes, Parkinson's. I would say, after my experience in the medical field, the majority are walking around with early onset dementia, Alzheimer's, and I see it every day, just the level of Parkinson's. And so for the dudes past their 40s listening, and get off that sugar and get off those carbs, you're going to start seeing it in your hands. You're going to get the tremors. You're going to get that head shake. And once you get that, it's all over. So boomers, be gone. Die, boomer, die. Let the children have their turn. What do you guys think? Thanks for watching. Hugs and kisses. Great White Stoke coming at you. Later, brah.